management, MV6, 24th of March 2022. Hallo. Wasserfahren. Ja, Barca Real Madrid 04 letzte Woche. Der Kollege ist Barca-Fan deshalb. So we look at the project management. Standard, okay. Last week we saw the process management standard. The difference between a process and a project is that a project starts and ends. Okay, a project has a start date and an end date. A process is never ending. Okay, this is the difference. So please be quiet. Hallo? Hallo? Kollege, bitte, ich habe nur eine Stimme. Ich muss die Stimme für den ganzen Semester halt behalten, ansonsten habe ich ein Problem beruflich. So bitte, wenn ihr was habt, geh raus. Ist kein Problem, okay, aber bitte. So we just looked at the process management standard, the CPDNA, and today we look at the project management, and this is a typical, I ask this every year in the exam, okay? So it's just a standard, okay? So it's super important that you, that's why we do the exercise, and I try to get it through the exercise also, that you develop a second nature here. So how does it happen? Imagine you're a project manager here. It's also a communication standard. You're a project manager. And your customer or your boss is asking you to perform a certain project. Customer or your boss. Okay, so you are reporting to this person using a communication standard. Okay, just this piece of paper that we used the other day, but it's going to be a little bit different. And it is in the differences that you need to be really careful, okay? Usually we use in the industry, we use a real piece of paper. So let's say usually it's an A3 piece of paper, okay? A3 is the European standard for size, okay? It's not A4, it's A3. It's like two A4s together. But that doesn't matter now. So we have also 4 phases. Okay, and here we have a project. Okay, so the first thing we do, the first step is not to decide how we measure success, like with the processes. Here, the first thing we do is we get a rough overview of what the timeline is. Okay, so the first step is to create timeline, a rough timeline. Imagine we have a project that means building a house, okay? So how do we create a timeline? So we get the time on one axis, and then we get like activities that we are going to perform We will call them later on work packages, Arbeitspakete in Deutsch. Activities that we perform in this time, okay? Some are longer, some are shorter, just depending on our schedule. Okay? So this is what we called work packages. I'm going to use the same nomenclature as the other day. Here, as the first step, gibt es Fragen? Yeah. Here, work package, Arbeitspakete, work package, work package. Okay? So here, as a first step, define work packages in a timeline. Whenever we start a project, we kind of roughly know what we want, right? We want to build a house, or we want to set up a new software, or we want to, next time please, thank you. Or we want to, I don't know, build a tree house for our kids, or we want to build a cupboard for our mom, whatever. You have a rough idea of what you want to do, right? The first thing you do, therefore, is you plan. If you want to build a house, you don't plan the first step to build a roof, okay? Your first step is to build the base of the house. Prepare the floor, the ground, then you have the pillars, then you have the structure, then you have the house, electricity, whatever, okay? The plumbing. You have a rough estimate, and of course, you know the timeline, you know when you want to be ready, okay? So it has a start and an end. You know your resources, you know how much money you have, how much money you need. You've made your numbers, okay? How much money you're gonna ask in the bank, how much work you are going to put into the house. Basically, you plan roughly. You cannot plan in detail yet. You plan roughly. The better detail, the better, but sometimes you cannot do it in very rough detail, in very straight detail. So you need to plan roughly. Okay, so this is the first step. Here, as I said, I cannot use the green, right? You are some of you cannot see the green. You see the difference between the two blues? Yeah, you cool? So here what we do is we roughly plan the timeline, resources, Gesundheit, resources, and let's say money, okay, budget. Okay? So you cool with that? Any questions? Irgendwelche Fragen? Ja, bitte.
Are there any rules for make this?
No, just no. The rules are just you need to set the work packages. Maybe you want to put some numbers, okay? I mean, you can do it this very detailed. Here you can put on the left, on the right side, you can put who does it, but I don't want to make it too complicated, okay?
Yeah.
You can put who does it and how much money you need and stuff like that, okay? But I just, this is a very rough description. We will go into detail later on. So, I mean, you can do this this is called a Gantt diagram, okay? Okay. Have you heard about this before? Gantt diagram? No? Okay. Then we write it. It's called here. Gantt diagram. Okay. And one thing that it's maybe also important, you can write also the dependencies. Okay. So for instance, you can say when I am done by 30% on activity 1, I can start with activity 2. When I'm done, and this is 30%, okay? When I'm done 100% with activity 2, I can start with activity 3 and with activity 4, and not before, because you need the base to build the pillars, to build the structure, or you need the walls to be able to build up the electricity, whatever, okay? So you can put dependencies on the work packages. And this is going to be important later on for another exercise, okay? So build dependencies. Can you recognize the red? Yeah? Okay, between work packages. Okay? Yeah.
So we define our own rules when we say we start at 30% and then.
Yeah, you define it. You're the project leader, so you decide once I'm done by 30% with my base, I can start having the logistics done for my structure. Or I can deploy the crane so that I can build up stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So you decide the dependencies. Yeah.
Have you write what kind of work packages that are in the Excel? For example, step 1 is...
No, that's why I'm asking you to do this exercise. Imagine you decide to do your project about building a garden house. Okay, so you tell me in your project, in your piece of paper, in detail.
Yeah,
okay? Okay. So imagine you decide to build to write your bachelor thesis with this, and your bachelor thesis is a project, start and end. Okay, and you start. My first step is doing research. My second step is asking some experts. My third step is this and that. Okay. And this shit can help you get on track. Okay, and that's why I am trying you to not only to learn it, but also to do it, because the best way to learn is to do it. Okay. If you only learn it in 2 weeks after the exam, it's gone. So you, yeah. What word? Build dependencies. Abhängigkeiten. Okay? So once you've done this, build a rough timeline of the project. You need to decide how you're going to measure success. Okay? So the second thing we do is how do we measure success? Okay, and you can measure success with basically with three in projects with three KPIs. You can say you measure timely performance, budget performance, or quality of output, of outcome. Okay? And this all boils down to one KPI, how you're doing today versus divided by what is your planned state. Okay? Both in time, in budget, or in quality. How you do today divided by how you're doing in your plan. Okay, so it's usually a percentage or a delay in weeks. So at the beginning, okay, imagine we measure the time. Okay, time performance is the easiest. What do we do to measure time performance? We perform following. We go every week and we draw a line on our plan. Okay, so in the beginning is 0. Imagine we are here, we see if we are delayed on task 1. Okay, because we are now in the beginning, we cannot measure anything, we need to continue. The next step, so any questions on how to measure? The next step is to describe the desired process and the current state in one page. We saw the other day, it's a little bit more complicated than the other day. We saw the other day how we do describe processes, right? Vertical line, horizontal line, and then we have the tasks, the process steps that we want to perform, And here are the process owners. Task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, when you do it, you need to describe it, okay? You don't put numbers. I'm just, this is the material flow, and this is the information flow. So, and this here is the desired state. That's why I'm painting it in gray, okay? This is what we would like to achieve. But then we go and we also describe what we have already achieved, okay? So let's say process step 1 is not done by this process owner, but by the other process owner. This we have achieved, and this we have achieved, okay? So far. And this is the current state. Okay. In one picture, we have two states. One's what we have, and one what we would like to have, using two colors. Okay? So again, the step here is to describe, or the task here is to describe tonight. Describe the process. When you do the process management standard, here you only have the current state, not the current and the desired state, only the current state. Here we have both. And what we do here is to, two processes in one figure. Two. Zwei Prozessen in einem Bild. I'm sorry, my writing is not so good because I have to write vertical, so yeah. Okay, so far we cool? Yeah. Here, look. The desired state is in gray. The current state is a little bit darker. So we have so far described a rough timeline on first step. We have decided how we are going to measure performance, and we have described the current state and the desired state. Okay? Any questions? So the next thing we do, do you have questions?
What P means?
What?
In gray, P, I don't understand it. P from Q.
Process owner. Process owner. We saw that last week. So look at that. That's the process owner. This is the list of process owners, okay? People touching people touching the process. Okay. So after that, we go and we decide what are the priorities. Okay, just as before. Number 4. We decide the priorities. Okay. Maybe we have a big delay on some tasks. And here we just describe what is most important. Habt ihr Fragen? Habt ihr Fragen? When we ask what is most important, means what is most important now. Because whatever is important today can change next week. Okay? Because we have solved the problem and we need to change and adjust for the next milestone. Okay? So we answer the question, what is most important, and then we do on the top 1 priority, we do an analysis. Okay? So we look for the root cause. Imagine we are not getting material delivered. Okay? This is the top 1 priority. Material is not being delivered because of the war in Ukraine, because of the logistic problems, because material is going very expensive and the constructor cannot buy it, whatever. Okay? So instead of building a house out of wood, we need to adjust and buy a house out of stone. I don't know. Okay, because we don't find the material. We cannot buy it anymore. Or if we buy it, it's too expensive. Okay, so once we do our analysis, we need to adjust our plan. Okay, before let me write here step number 4, which is the analysis. And here we want to make sure, sorry, number 4. Here we want to make sure that things go well. And we want to ask why is our top 1 priority.
Is there 2 times 4?
A problem? Yes, I've been doing this all the time now. Funny question. There's a 1 and a 1. Okay, who asked? You asked. Yeah, there is 1. Oh, you're right. Yes, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. My fault. It's 5. Sorry. Yeah, it's number 5. Of course, So once we know that we don't get wood, we need to adjust and build our house out of stone. Okay. I mean, it's a funny example, but might be happening. Yeah. And what? And 5? Yeah. Here. Yeah. Why is our top 1 priority a problem? Okay. So once we know, we need to adjust our plan. What do we do to adjust our plan? We add a new package. Buy some, I don't know, buy some stones for our house. Okay. So this is our new package. And this is changing some part of the plan. Okay. And this is also changing. This is 1.1. This is also changing the dependencies. Okay. It is of course delaying the whole thing, because if I cannot start number 3 and number 4 before I finish 1.1, this all goes being delayed. One of the important things when performing project management is to take care of these killers and try to avoid them. So we are looking at time performance, and this week we can now say, okay, cool, we are going to look at our time performance. And what we do is draw a line, okay, and look, see if we have been delayed. What we do is we make a so-called back spike. Here we are delayed, let's say by 2 weeks. And here we are delayed by 1 week. Okay? This is called back spike. Because it's like a spike going back, ein Haken nach hinten. Okay? Back spike. This is the way we visualize, and we do that every week, okay? Every week on all our tasks. We are delayed by 2 weeks on task number 1, and we are delayed by 1 week on task number 2. So we have a delay of 3 weeks, okay? So we paint here the delay. 2 weeks in task number 1 and 1 week task number 2. Total delay of 3 weeks. Can you follow? Then we go again. We see what we have already put together. Okay? We rewrite our priorities. Rewrite the priorities because now maybe they have changed. Okay, I've solved the problem with the stones, but now maybe I don't get mortar enough. Okay? And then we rewrite our timeline, maybe new activities are coming. And then the next week I do it again. Okay? I mean, if I do it a lot, then this gets very complicated. That's why I don't want to put it. But you have the video and you can play the video and see how the whole thing is developing. Okay? So this is the good part of the video. So on the next week, what we have here is another, so here we have a delay here so far of 3 weeks. Then we have a delay on next of 4 weeks. Usually delays increase unless you pay more money to your people to work on Sundays or to work on whatever, extra time, and then you fight back on time. Okay? So you want to drive your time performance to 0, no delay. Once you are done with your project, you go and then you standardize. This would be step number 6. Imagine you are please. Come on. Imagine you're a constructor, okay? And you build up houses. And this is just one house. You want to build like 100 houses, and you want to grow, and you want to expand, or whatever, okay? So you want to have a best practice of how to build houses. You would like to have a best practice way of building best practice. So that's why you develop a standard process for project. You develop standard houses, okay? With 3D printing and stuff like that is how you expand and how you make really money being a constructor. If you need to be an artist every time, like an architect of art, every time you build a house, you don't make money unless you are very shooting star, very reputed. The way to make money is to standardize, okay? So you want to have a standard on how to build a house, and the way to build a standard is by learning what went wrong and why. How many changes you had to do on your first rough project until you got the real shit done. That's why you represent what should have done, what should have been, and what it is, and you represent here what you planned in the beginning and what you have really done and when. Okay? So you make a standard for your house, for your project. In order to understand best practice. Because next time, what you're going to do, you're not going to get, next time somebody comes and asks for a similar house, you're not going to get your rough timeline that you just got. You're going to get your standard, whatever worked for you, and you're going to try to make it better. Okay? You're going to try to make it better. And this is how you make money with projects. Okay. So, any questions? Yeah.
So this drawing shows us the steps of one project, right? So if you write in bachelor thesis,
one project. Yeah.
but your priorities can also change if everything goes as planned. Right? So if you're writing bachelor thesis, first week the priority is on searching research.
Yeah.
And third month writing.
Yeah, of course, your priorities change. Like when you imagine you have a project, I don't know, be a better rugby player, become a better weightlifter, whatever, okay? Your priorities change. First can you put your phone away, please? First you start building up your condition, then you start jogging, then you start, your priorities change with time. Please put your phone away, please. Bitte anzieh das Handy weg. Ja. If you are developing your capabilities, you are changing yourself, which is whatever you want to achieve. Okay. Imagine your project is to write a doctoral thesis. Okay. After your master's, you say, I'm going to be a doctor. It's a 3 years project. Okay, so in the beginning you don't even know what you're going to write about. And you develop, you start learning, you develop your capabilities, you talk to this, you go to this conference, you go, you know, at some point after 1 year, you roughly know what you're going to do. Then you need to change and start writing, okay? And so on. So the way you develop projects or processes is by iteration, okay? You don't get a plan and you stick to the plan, whatever happens, because this goes down the road. You know, there's a saying in English that says, nothing fails like success. Nothing fails like success. So if you have been successful on something, if you have been successful on some things at some time in your life, some point, wait, I cannot do two things at once. If you have been successful at something once in your life, you might tend to think that next time you try, same conditions will apply and you will be successful. So guess what? Your success is probably not a consequence of yourself or your actions. It's a consequence of a bunch of things around. Okay? A lot of things happening around you that, you know, the planets align so that you're successful. But that doesn't mean that next time, same conditions will apply. Okay, does it make sense? Imagine, I don't know, with girls or with boys. Okay, it's the same. If you try a certain strategy with a girl, okay, might work once. If you try the same strategy with the next girl, might not work. Why? Shit, you know? Why not? You're the same person, it's the same, you know, flowers, chocolate, dinner, whatever, you know? It's a different condition, okay? So you need to adapt. And this is what we're learning here. We're learning to a way, you know, to be successful in whatever the fuck you want to achieve in your life. So with these two lectures, the first lecture and the second lecture, if you apply the things that we're seeing here, you will be successful. It's not a matter it's like what I told all the girls that I wanted to be with. You know, I didn't tell them, es war nicht eine Frage, ob wir zusammen werden, es ist nur die Frage, wann. Okay? So and here's the same thing, you know. You if you put your mind to something, and I mean every one of you, okay, I'm really, believe me, if you put your mind to something and you stick to it with discipline, you will achieve it. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want, you need to be careful what you desire. Because if you desire something that is bad or that harms you, then it will hit you. Okay? But if you follow these steps, you will achieve whatever you put your mind to, really. Yeah, you just need one thing, and this thing is discipline. And this is hard to achieve, discipline. Be hard on yourself. You know, there's a saying, in Japanese, strong people create good times. Good times create weak people. Weak people create catastrophes. Catastrophes create strong people. And it goes all along. History works like that. So guess what? In which part of history we are right now? If we look at the world, okay? Strong people, we are in the part of good times. we are in the part of weak people, or we are in the part of catastrophe. Okay? My bet is that we are starting to get into catastrophe times. Okay? So get yourselves strong. It's your responsibility. It's no one else's responsibility. I don't know, we talked about it the other day, who you work with here, why you're here. You're here for your kids. Did we talk about that? You are here for your kids, not for you. Imagine in 10 years, some asshole decides to roll over Germany with their tanks. You know, why not? It takes 5 days, I guess, to roll over Germany with Russian tanks. You see yourselves fighting, taking a gun. You see yourselves fleeing with your kids to Brazil. Women and kids can go, men must stay. You have the mind to it. I hope it doesn't come. Okay, I really hope. But if not a war, a real, you know, shooting war, we are in an economic war right now. Okay, and the center of gravity is moving towards Asia. Okay, it's going to be China, it's going to be Korea, it's going to be Japan. South Korea and Japan are west, okay, in these terms. China is going to take over a lot of countries down there, Hong Kong, Thailand, Vietnam, going to be all satellites, you know. And Chinese, in general, Asians do not work, you know, like the strategic game in the West here is chess. You know chess, right? Chess about killing the king, right? At least you know the rules. It's about killing the king. But you don't play the strategic games in geopolitics. It's not about killing the king anymore. You don't go and kill the king and you've won. You need to, because it's impossible to kill an organism that has 1.3 billion elements. It's impossible to kill the king and you're done. It's a lot of, you know, you need to surround it. So the strategic game in Asia is Go. Waduk, or how do you call it in Korea? Yeah, Waduk, yeah. So that's the shit these guys learn. Waduk. And it basically means surrounding. So you win by surrounding. Okay? You surround. And this is exactly what China is doing right now. China is using Russia to weaken Europe. In a couple of years, they will come in and they will buy companies, real estate, bam, 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 for nothing. And we will be happy that they invest their artificial intelligence technology and stuff here. Believe me, you don't want to work for Chinese whatever company. You don't want to. You prefer to work for your Bosch or Daimler or something like that. It's a different way of working and different reality. So what do you do to avoid it? What do you do to avoid it? It's a very tough question because it's very real. What do you do to avoid it? You get tough on yourself. You study. What do you need to study? Math, artificial intelligence, programming. That's the shit that is going to be winning the wars of the future. Not weapons. You let machines fight. We need programmers, we need math, we need artificial intelligence. Start now. If you don't know where to start, ask the people. I mean, I can give you the first steps. Please, start now. Get tough on yourselves with discipline. And I'm not saying this because I would like you to be, I don't know, or be unhappy or something like that. I would like you to be working close to your families and drive a happy life, okay? If you think this is science fiction, look at Ukraine. Okay, 1 year ago, people like you were studying in Ukrainian universities. Girls, boys like you, just like you. People were going from abroad, from Africa, from Asia to study there. Good universities. Now everything's gone in 3-4 weeks. Anyway, okay. So this is the project management standard we're going to use. We are going to call this similarly as before. Let me pick another color. This is called do. This is called check. This is called plan. And this is called act. Okay, so we start with the do, DCP, DCP many times until we get to our A. That's why we call this DCP n times A. Okay? DCP n times A. So in the exam, you should be able to describe this with this picture, similar, with an example of your own, with an example. Last exam, I asked for, please describe the process management that I would need to use after Christmas to lose weight. Okay? So you need to describe what I should do to lose weight. This would be a process management. Okay. We cool? Any questions? Here.